All right, so we are going to do proving triangles similar today. So this is a lot like the assignment you did yesterday, but today we're focusing just on triangles. And there's actually 3 shortcuts you can use that will speed up the process. So your first shortcut is called angle-angle similarity. And basically, if 2 angles of one triangle are congruent to 2 angles of another triangle, you don't have to do any additional work. We just know that the triangles would be similar. So, for example, if angle A and D were congruent and B and E were congruent, that's enough information for us to just say that triangle ABC is similar to triangle DEF. You don't have to check the sides or anything else. That's literally all you have to do. So here's a couple examples. So we're just going to determine if they are similar by angle, and then if they are, we're going to write a similarity statement. So if you just focus on these first 2 triangles, ABC and DEF, I can't see right now if 2 angles match up. I do have that A and D are congruent, but I need another one to prove that they're similar. So I'm going to start off by finding angle C, and I can do that by adding the 2 angles I have together and then subtracting those from 180, because we know that triangles add up to 180 degrees total. So when I do that, I figure out that angle C is 31 degrees. And now I can see that C and F are congruent. Since I have 2 angles that are congruent, yes, these are similar by angle-angle similarity. And a similarity statement I could write would be triangle ABC. And if you kind of follow the pattern, so A, B, C, we want to do the same thing, so it would be D, E, F. On the second example, there are no angle measurements given, but you do have that angle V is congruent to angle Y because they're marked. You can actually add a mark because right here, these 2 angles are considered vertical angles, and we know that vertical angles are congruent. So once I add that, I do have 2 sets of angles that are congruent. So these are angle-angle similar. And I could write a similarity statement. Maybe I name the first one WVX. And so I just want to make sure that my marks match up. I would have to name this one ZYX. Second type of similarity shortcut is called side angle side similarity. So you are welcome to abbreviate it like this: side, SAS, and then the similar symbol. Essentially this time you're going to have one set of angles that are congruent. So it would be like A and D. And then you're going to have 2 sets of sides that are proportional. So that's what this part states. I'm going to show you an example with numbers because I think that makes more sense. So like, let's say this is 4 and this is 8, this is 5 and this is 10. If you were to set up a proportion with those, 4 over 8 is 1/2, 5 over 10 is 1/2. So we have these 2 sides that are proportional, and then the angle in the middle is congruent, and so that would be the side angle side similarity. Here's a couple examples with side angle side similarity. So right here, this first example, I have these 2 angles that are marked congruent, so that's off to a good start. Then I want to check the sides. Just in case your triangles are not lined up the same way, I recommend looking like on this triangle, 8 is the smaller side and 6 is the smaller side, so I know those 2 would correspond. So I recommend just going by like which one's the smallest, medium, large. When you simplify, this is 4/3. That means 20 and 15 correspond. When you simplify that, it's also 4/3. So these match up. We have our angles that are congruent in the middle of those. So this is side angle side similar. And then you could write a similarity statement. On the second one, there's no angle marked, but if you were to highlight the 2 triangles, so here's the first triangle, and then here's the second triangle. hopefully you can see that both triangles have the same angle A, so this angle has to be congruent. And then same thing, you just want to see if your sides are proportional. So 15 over 25 when you simplify is 3/5. When you simplify 12 over 21, you get 4/7. So these do not match. Because they don't match, you're just going to put not similar. If they're not similar, you can't write a similarity statement, so that's all you need to do. The last similarity shortcut is called side, side, side similarity. And this one, you just check if all three sides are proportional. That is written in letters right here, but again, I'm just going to make up some numbers so you can see it with numbers. So I would have 8 over 4, which is 2, 10 over 5, which is 2, 16 over 8, which is 2. If these all end up being the same, it's side, side, side similarity. So for this next one, you want to check, are they similar by side, side, side? Again, I would just start with the smallest just to make sure that the triangles are lined up correctly. So we have 1/2. The middle size would be 4 and 8. That's 1/2. And the last one, 5 over 10, that's 1/2. So yes, they are similar by side, side, side. It tells you to write a similarity statement, but you told me you were okay with me skipping that for now. So as long as you still feel that way, I'm just going to do another one. So the second one, again, I would start with the smallest, which is 30 and 24. That is 5/4. The second side would be 32 and 25. And this actually doesn't simplify, so these don't match. So we would just right away say not similar. Again, if they're not similar, you cannot write a similarity statement. This whole next set is giving you triangles, and then it says determine if they're similar and state how. I personally think it's easiest to start by looking at the picture and figuring out if they're similar, what shortcut am I probably using. So if you look at this first one, on each triangle, you only have 2 sides. So we're probably going to be using side angle side if they are similar. You have vertical angles here that can be marked, so you can go ahead and mark those. And then you're just matching up the sides together. So smallest side on the left triangle, smallest side on the right. That's 15 over 21. When you divide both by 3, you get 5/7. Similar process for the top, so 28 over 39.2. When you simplify that, you do get 5/7. So these are proportional. We have the angle in the middle that's congruent, and so that means these are similar by side angle side. If I highlight for you, here's the smaller triangle. Here is the larger triangle. Hopefully you can see that they definitely share angle C, so you can mark that right away. I would try to find angle D. You can do that by adding C and E together and then subtracting from 180 because triangles add up to be 180. When you subtract, you're going to get 95. So this angle is 95. These two don't match and these two don't match. So I only have one angle that's congruent. So these are not similar. On the next one, hopefully if you look, you see all 3 sides are labeled. So we're probably going to be checking side, side, side. So start with the smallest sides. 8 goes with 10. So see, that's a good example of how they're not lined up correctly. So if you just started assuming that these two went together, it would mess you up. So make sure that you're checking, smallest with the smallest, middle with the middle. So 9 over 11.25 is also 4/5. And then 12 over 15 is also 4/5. So these are similar because these three are proportional, and it would be side, side, side. Right away, you should mark your vertical angles. And then whenever you see this symbol, you know something. If you forget, those little arrows mean parallel. So let me highlight some sides for you. Whenever you have parallel sides, you are probably looking for some type of an angle pair. And I think Bowden actually got it correct and said alternate interior. So right here and here, these angles would be considered alternate interior. So I'll write that for you. And that means they're also congruent. So now I have these two sets of congruent angles. So that means these are angle similar. And then you could write a similarity statement. On the first one, if you look, you have two sides and one angle. So you're probably checking for side, angle, side. So I have the angled part done. The next thing I need to do is check if the sides are proportional. So 30 is the smaller side and 44. So I want to check this to start off with. I can simplify and I get 15 over 22. I also have 32 and 48. When you simplify that, you get 2/3. These do not match, and since they don't match, they're not similar. And just a reminder, if they're not similar, you don't write a similarity statement. On the second one, you have to fill in several missing sides. And this was kind of like number 20 from yesterday, which a lot of people asked me about. So there's two triangles. Hopefully you can see that. Here's the first triangle. If you notice, this side is labeled for you, but this side that I'm putting a squiggle on in blue is not. So you would want to start by finding that. The whole entire side over here is 45, and then this little section is 9. So if you want to find the missing part, you would want to subtract those two. And so this piece would be 36. If you look at the larger of the two triangles, I'm going to highlight it in green. You know that the bottom side is 45, but you don't have the entire top side labeled here. But you have this piece that's 8, and then this piece that's 32. So if you wanted the whole thing, we'd add those together and get 40. I'm going to redraw this picture because it's looking pretty crazy. All right, so here's what I have essentially. This angle is the same for both triangles. This side is 32. This whole side is 40. This whole side is 45. This part is 36. So that's really all the information you need. So it's looking like side angle side is what I want to be checking. So the top sides that correspond are 32 over 40. When you simplify that, you're going to get 4/5. The bottom two sides are 36 over 45. When you simplify that, you're going to get 4/5. These match. The angle in between is congruent. That means these are side, angle, side, similar. All right, so then on this last one, we have to state how the triangles are similar. So if you look, you have this side that has 4x minus 4. You cannot use that to prove these triangles are similar. So I want to ignore this side for right now. And I also want to ignore the side that corresponds to it. So don't look at those at all yet. So the other things I'm seeing is I have vertical angles right here. And I have two sides that are corresponding, so I'm going to look at those now. So the smaller one is 9 and 12, so I'm going to compare those, and I get 3/4. I also have 21 over 28, which is 3/4. So this is side, angle, side, similar. Because this is a side proportion, congruent angle. Okay, I'm going to erase some of this. Now, the second part of this question said, once you figure out how these are how these are similar, I want you to find the value of x. So you need to set up a proportion. So I have to use this, which we said corresponded to 18. The other two sides, you can choose whichever ones you want. I'm just going to choose 9 and 12. And so then we set up our proportion. So 9 over 12. If I put the left triangle on top and the right triangle on bottom, I just need to continue that pattern. So next would come 18 because it's the left triangle. And then 4x minus 4 because it's the right triangle. Remember, if you have a binomial, you want to put it in parentheses before you do your cross multiplying. So we have 9 times 4x minus 4 equals 12 times 18, which is 216. You would distribute, add 36, and you get 252. And then when you divide by 36, you get 7.